What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to our latest episode of Combat Tips Season 3. As you all can see, today's video is going to be featuring the Matokan tribal warrior himself, Nightwolf. As usual, folks, if there's any controls I say in today's video that don't entirely make sense to your platform, feel free to take this little conversion guide right here, and you can use that to take any of the controls I say and convert them to any other platform currently hosting Mortal Kombat 11. Here we are, of course, hanging out on the cosmetic screen, and that is, as per usual, to show you guys that as of this video's release date, there are currently 21 out of 21 finishers for Nightwolf, which means this video is going to be featuring 9 different brutalities. As you can see, folks, here are all of the brutalities I will be featuring in today's video. We're going to be starting off, as tradition, with the Classic. However, if there's any particular brutality you are here on this video to learn, feel free to hop on down to either the comments or the description, where you can find timestamps to help you skip to any of the brutalities I feature in today's video. As I said, we're going to be starting off with the Classic. I'll see you there. Alright, folks, so let's get started. The Classic. Now, with this particular brutality, you want to make sure that on your final round, you do not block any attacks if you want this brutality to work. And just to clarify, by final round, they mean the one you are going to be victorious on. So that can be either round 2 or 3, just the one that you as a player are going to win on. You cannot block on that round. Now, assuming you've managed not to block on your final round, the only thing you have to worry about left is to finish your opponent with an uppercut, which is down Y or down triangle, and make sure to hold either Y or triangle, whatever your respective controller is, during that final hit. So let's hop into our example here. An uppercut, like I said, down Y or down triangle, super traditional. Boom. You can't beat it. Now, as you folks can see, we are on round 2 here. This is going to be my victorious round, but something I also like to clarify is that when they say do not block an attack on the final round, you can accidentally, as you can see here, hit the block button. If you hit it and don't take damage, you can still do this brutality. So just keep that in mind. I know sometimes it can be instinctual to hit that block button. So long as you don't take damage, you can still do this brutality. Alright, folks, let's move in for the final strike here. One more reminder, make sure you do not block any attacks on the final round. My final round here is going to be round 2, and as you can see, it's okay if you hit the button, just make sure you don't take any damage, and you can still do this. And now, last but not least, we want to finish the opponent with an uppercut, which is down Y or down triangle, and make sure to hold either Y or triangle during that uppercut. Let's go for it, folks. Pop. Doesn't get any easier than that. It's called the Classic for a reason. On to the next one, folks. Alright, folks, so next up is the Skullcracker brutality. Now, this one, also very straightforward. All you have to do is finish your opponent with a towards throw. And while that animation is playing out, you want to make sure you hit forward 3 times as quick as you can. If you ask me, just spam forward just to be safe. And that's really all there is to it. Let's hop into our example. Alright, folks, so with a throw, you have 2 options here. You can either tap L1 or left button, and as you can see, boom, a throw. Or optionally, you can also push square and X at the same time, or X and A if you prefer more of an arcade traditional style play. And as you can see, I'll do that as well. Boom, yet another grab. Now, something to note is that we want to do a forward grab with this brutality. So when we go to push that L1 or when we go to push that square and X at the same time, make sure you are pushing forward to get that animation to play out properly. And as you can see, it is quite different. You know you got this immediately if you get them on their knees and whack them over the head. That is the animation we're looking for. So just keep that in mind. A forward throw, very easy. You can just tap L1 or left button, or tap those arcade inputs if you prefer, and just be pushing forward. And of course, boom, boom, and boom. Easy. Alrighty, folks, we're moving in for that final strike here. One more reminder, all you gotta do is finish your opponent with a towards throw, and you want to push forward 3 times during that animation. But again, if you ask me, just spam it, because I sure as hell will. Let's go for it. Forward, and I'm spamming that. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Oh, love it. This is a very easy to do brutality, if you ask me, but it's very satisfying. That final clunk of the axe in the head. Woo! Love it. On to the next one, folks. Alright everybody, so next up is the Guardian God Brutality. Now, much like our last one, very straightforward, except this time we're going to be doing a back throw instead of a towards throw. So again, you want to finish the opponent with a back throw and push down 3 times during that animation, but much like the last one, if you ask me, just spam those inputs to be safe, spam down during that final hit, and you should be good. Let me show you what this should look like. Alrighty folks, again, a throw is super easy. You can either tap L1 or left button, and as you can see, boom, there's our back throw. And again, you can also, if you prefer, push square and X or X and A at the same time for more of a traditional arcade style. And with this one, you really don't have to push any directions either. As you can see, all I'm going to do is tap, boom, L1, and that's it. We are all set up for that particular animation. From there, all I would have to worry about is pushing down. So here we go, folks. Let's get into that final hit. Alright, folks, let's move in for that final strike. One more reminder, you just got to finish your opponent with a back throw, and while that animation is playing out, push down 3 times quickly, or, if you ask me, just spam downwards. Let's go for it. Tapping L1 and spamming down. Oh. That little slide, to me, is the cherry on top. It's already awesome that you know, cook and fry the opponent like that with that powerful beam of light. But then just to kind of add insult to injury, you go in for that extra, that little slide. And I'm sure some of you noticed as well that spiritual knife sticks in there too, which I think is, again, just a nice little detail, a nice little addition to Nightwolf. There's a reason he's one of my favorite characters. Alright everybody, so next up is the right to the heart brutality. Now this one will require that you have the grappling stalker ability in your arsenal, so do please make sure you have that set up in your variation if you want to perform this one. So when it comes to our requirements, this one's definitely a little more risky, but still quite straightforward. So the final hit itself has to come from your Razor's Edge combo, and of course, I'll demonstrate that in a moment. But before you can actually do that, you must be below 30% health, which is why I say this can be a little risky. Now, assuming you've put all that together and you're in the animation, you want to make sure, last but not least, to hold down during the final hit. And in this case, you want to hold it, not spam it. So just keep that in mind. Razor's Edge, make sure you are under 30% of your health and hold down during the animation. Let's get into our example. Alrighty folks, so in order to do the Razor's Edge, you are of course going to have to start off with the Falcon swap. So in order to do that is going to be back A, B, or back X and circle, and that should look just like that, folks. Now the only thing we're going to add to that is pushing X and A at the same time afterwards, or square and X at the same time. And as you can see here, boom, such a savage move. I cannot even believe how much damage that does sometimes. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. That's really all there is to it, folks. Again, you can do the Falcon swap to start this combo, which is back A and B, or back X and circle. Boom, just like that. And again, all you have to do to extend it from there is make sure to push X and A at the same time, or square into X after that first starting combo. And as you can see, boom, 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 boom. Oh, I love it. So just as a visual example for you guys, as you can see up here, I am at 272 HP out of 1,000, and so long as you are at 299 out of 1,000 or less, you are all set to perform this brutality. The quickest way to know if you haven't performed your fatal blow yet, if you see it active, you know you're all set, because as far as I know, the fatal blow will not activate unless you are, of course, below 30% of your health. So it's a very convenient guide if you gotta see quickly if you're good to perform this brutality in the heat of battle. On to the finisher, guys. Alright everybody, we're moving in for that final hit. One more reminder, make sure to finish your opponent with the Razor's Edge, have less than 30% of your own HP left, and hold down during that animation. Let's go for it. Holding down. Oh. Oh. This is probably my favorite brutality for Nightwolf. It's just so savage, so brutal, and it's not as quick as a lot of brutalities, if you know what I mean. It's almost like that he draws it out a little bit more so the opponent suffers before death. And I mean, what's more brutal than that? We got Divorce still splashing on his foot right now. So I don't know, you guys. This is definitely, if not one of my favorite brutalities in the game, one of my favorite brutalities for Nightwolf undoubtedly. Whenever I pull this off online, hype train all the way. So next up we have the Native Violence Brutality. Now this one will also require that you have the Grappling Stalker ability in your arsenal, so just like the last one, please have this set up if you want to perform this particular brutality. As for the requirements, all you got to worry about is finishing your opponent with the Helm Splitter combo, and during that animation, rapidly mash X and Y as quickly as you can. Let's move on to our example. Alright folks, so the Helm Splitter combo is made up of two different parts. The first part is the ambush punch, and that is either going to be YY or triangle triangle, and it'll look boom boom, just like that. Now, the next part of this combo is going to require you to push X and A at the same time, or square and X at the same time after that ambush punch. So here we go, boom boom and boom, and there we have it. Alternatively, if you prefer, you can actually use L1 or left button in place of the square and X or the X and A. It's up to you, totally optional, but as you can see here, I will just push triangle, triangle, and then L1, and that should activate our combo. Awesome. So, just an example or an alternative. I prefer X and A just because that's what I'm used to, or I'm sorry, square and X because I play on the PlayStation, but it's all up to you. Whatever you want to use, do what's most comfortable. Now, just a little tip for some of you who may be having trouble pushing X and Y or square and triangle as rapidly as you should. I like to take my pointer and my middle fingers, take the controller like so, and then place those two fingers on there just like that and beat them both very quickly. This way it guarantees both buttons are getting pushed as rapidly possible as they can, and it just seems to always guarantee that the brutality works for me. Some of you will not even have a problem with that, but I have occasionally gotten comments where people just say they cannot push the buttons quick enough, and that is the best suggestion I would give you guys. So, up to you, do what's most comfortable as per usual. Alrighty folks, so let's get messy here. Remember, all you have to do for this brutality is finish your opponent with that Helm Splitter combo, and while that's going on, rapidly tap either square and triangle or X and A as quick as you want. I'll show you my method again live, but here we go folks. Going in for that final strike here, and I'm mashing it just like that. Oh. Woo. And that last one. Chunky.
Flawless victory.
And you can see, I mean, it's a little tough now if you didn't notice immediately, but the head does indeed split in half by the end of all that action. So, that is why we get such a gory chunk of a noise at the end of it. Very satisfying if you ask me though. This brutality is very easy to pull off so long as your opponent doesn't block and you can break through and finish him with this. There's no other requirements other than just remembering to mash those buttons. So keep that in mind. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. On to our next brutality. Alright, so next up we have the Faithful Obliteration Brutality, and this one will require that you have the Ancestral Light ability in your arsenal, so as usual, make sure you got that set up if you want to perform this one. With our requirements over here, all you got to worry about is performing 5 of those Ancestral Lights at any point during the match, and as far as I understand, you only have to use it. In this particular case, they don't necessarily have to connect and damage the opponent to the full extent. Beyond that, when you're ready, just go in and finish your opponent off with yet another Ancestral Light. Let's hop into our example. So the Ancestral Light is a very straightforward move. It is down forward A or down forward X, and as far as I know, you can use it from just about any range. And as you can see there, folks, boom, we have 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, and there's 5. We now have all of our requirements out of the way, and we can literally move on to that brutality. Alright everybody, let's move in for that final strike now. Remember, all you gotta do is hit your opponent with at least 5 Ancestral Lights at any points between round 1, 2, and 3, and then just go ahead and finish your opponent with yet another Ancestral Light. Let's go for it, folks.
Brutality.
Well, there we have it. She's gone all together. I like this one because it does differentiate a little bit from the other brutality. The other one that kills them with the light leaves behind the skeleton, and you get the bump. And this one just completely obliterates any trace of them from existence. So, who knows? Maybe you prefer one or the other. I like the throw-based one a little better, but if you ask me, they're both very cool. On to the next one. Alright folks, so next up is the Pure Guts Brutality. Now this one will require that you have the Tomahawk Swing ability in your arsenal, so do make sure that's all good and set up, as usual, if you want to perform this brutality. Now there are two notable prerequisites if you want to perform this brutality. The first is that you must have more than 50% of your health remaining, and beyond that, you also must not have used your Fatal Blow at any point during the match. If you can manage to perform both of those requirements, last but not least, all you want to do is finish your opponent with a Tomahawk Swing. And I'll show you guys what all of this should look like right now. Alright everybody, so the Tomahawk Swing, this one is going to require you to push down, back forward A, or down, back forward X, and that should look just like this. It almost looks like a throw of sorts. Boom. Very nice, very painful looking, but let's go ahead and do one more just for the sake of it. And there you go, guys. That is what a Tomahawk Swing should look like. Down, back forward A, or down, back forward X. Alright, folks, so two things to note before we go on for that finishing strike. As you can see up here, this little notch right here in the center with a slightly tinier hump in the middle of the HP bar, that is the 50% notch. You must make sure you have more than 50% of your HP if you want to perform this brutality. So of course, just keep that in mind and note where that is if you're going for this one. Second up, make sure you have not used your Fatal Blow. As you can see over here on Devora's side, that is the Fatal Blow meter. As you may remember, when you push both back triggers and get that ultra flashy animation, that is the Fatal Blow. Make sure that you, as a player, do not use it. It's okay if your opponent does, but remember, you as Nightwolf cannot use your Fatal Blow if you want to go for this particular brutality. Alright everybody, let's go in and spill some guts. Remember, you just have to have more than 50% of your HP, which of course I do, and remember you also must not use your Fatal Blow if you want to perform this brutality. So here we go folks, Tomahawk Swing to finish the opponent. Ooh, here it comes. Oh boy.
This is your end.
Gutted. This one's, I don't know, if you ask me, this is also a top tier brutality for him. It's just so disgusting, and you can imagine how many opponents get angry online when I use this. Essentially, Nightwolf seems to be the king of those slow, excruciating brutalities that you not only have to watch, but just take as a victim. I don't know. It's pretty painful. So next up, we have the No Leg to Stand On brutality. Now this one will require that you have the Spirit Tracks ability in your arsenal, so do please make sure you have that set up if you want to perform this one. Now there's two requirements for this brutality that you're definitely going to want to focus on. The first of those is that you get the first hit. Now, there is a way to know for a fact if you've done this right at the start of a match, and I will show you in a moment. Beyond that, however, you also must have under 30% of your HP remaining, so again, one of those riskier brutalities, but it may be worth it if it's in the heat of battle. Last but not least, you want to make sure that your final strike, after you've met those two requirements, comes from a Spirit Tracks. Let me show you what this all should look like right now. So as I said, the first thing we want to focus on is getting that first hit. Now, of course, it's not going to be a problem when I'm fighting a non-moving NPC, but if you are in the heat of battle and you're not sure if you're going to get that first hit, you can see right over here on the left side of my screen, the moment one player gets that first hit, they will get a respective medal on their side. So as you can see over here, boom, the first hit props medal. As soon as you get that, whoever has it on their respective side, that is the player that has gotten the first hit in the match. So make sure that pops up on your side if you want to go for this particular brutality. The next thing we want to focus on is the move itself, and that is Spirit Tracks. Very easy, back forward B or back forward circle, and that'll look, boom, just like that, a nice trip up move. Just a quick reminder, folks, as you can see up here, you need less than 30% of your HP, and as I have mentioned before, if your Fatal Blow is active, you know you're all set. You just have to be below this particular notch, right up there, and you are set to perform this brutality. Remember, less than 30%. Or if you have the actual numerals turned on, 299 HP or less. So here we go, folks. Final strike. Remember, you got to get that first hit props if you want to do this brutality. And then make sure to have less than 30% of your HP remaining. And last but not least, finish your opponent with that Spirit Tracks. Let's go for it. Ooh. Clunk.
Brutality.
Hey, it works. It's definitely not my favorite brutality for him. It's pretty generic, if you ask me. You know, anyone can take the limbs off in such a fashion. But you know what? He's got so many awesome brutalities that easily make up for it that I don't care. On to our last brutality for today, folks. Alright, everybody, last but certainly not least is the Deadeye brutality. Now, this one will require that you have less than 50% of your HP remaining when you go to perform it. Pretty easy to gauge, but I will give you an example just to know exactly where you are standing on that HP bar. And beyond that, make sure you have not lost a single round leading up to that brutality. If you lose a round, unfortunately, you do forfeit the opportunity to perform that brutality during this particular match. Last, but certainly not least, you're going to want to finish your opponent with a Spirit Arrow. So, let's get right into it. Alright folks, so a Spirit Arrow is back forward X or back forward square, and it'll look just like that. If you want as well, you can also hold either square or X if you need to, and as you can see, you can also kind of delay that arrow. So, might be helpful if you're trying to psych out your opponent. I definitely use this delay a lot, or even just sometimes when I'm trying to intimidate opponent after you beat them and you don't want to necessarily perform a fatality. Sometimes it's fun to just go, whoop, whoop. Up to you, as long as you do those Spirit Arrows, that's all you have to use to finish your opponent. Alright everybody, just a reminder up here that you need less than 50% of your HP to do this brutality, and as you can see, this little notch right here, the little center hump on that HP bar, that is the 50% mark, so as long as you are below that, you should be good to perform this brutality. Alrighty folks, so we're moving in for that final strike here. Remember, you cannot have lost any rounds. As you can see up here, we are on round 2, so as long as you haven't made it to round 3, you know you can perform this brutality. We are below 50% HP, and last but certainly not least, here comes our nice shiny Spirit Arrow. Oh, beautiful. What can I say? It's nice that we have a projectile brutality. It's nothing crazy as per usual. A lot of people have projectiles, but I do like that the eyeballs stick to the end of the arrow and that the arrow itself is visual by the end of the actual, violence, just because it's, it's more signature that way. We know it's a Nightwolf arrow because it's that green, glowy type thing, you know what I'm saying? But, I don't know. That all said, a lot of good brutalities for Nightwolf, if you ask me. I really love those stalker grappling type moves. That's definitely something I use a lot in online ranked. It's just a big favorite of mine. Between Nightwolf and Baraka, those are usually two characters I play the most nowadays. So, a lot of fun to play him, and I'm very familiar with a lot of these brutalities, so it was just kind of cool to be able to share them with you guys. That all said, let's move on to our final words for the day. Alright everybody, so thank you all so much for watching the video today. I do apologize, it's definitely been at least a while, a couple weeks since I've put out another video. As most of you know, COVID-19 has hit pretty much the entire world, and it's unfortunately a pretty serious situation. We've had a lot of pandemics throughout the world in the last couple, generations, but I don't think there's been one that's hit quite as hard as this one in recent times. So I do hope you are all safe. I hope you're all happy, healthy, staying quarantined and away from other people that you shouldn't necessarily be around, just for the safety of it all. And I do hope you guys have been enjoying these tutorial videos. I'm hoping to put out a little bit more now that I've got some more time thanks to this whole quarantine situation going on, but we'll see. I'm doing the best I can, and as always, I hope you guys have been enjoying the videos yourselves. If you guys enjoyed this video, as usual, feel free to leave me a like or a comment down below, as both are very much appreciated, and they really do help. They just, their feedback. They let me know that there can either be changes made, or it lets me know when I'm doing something right, lets me know what people like, all those types of things. I really appreciate them. If you'd like to see more content in the future just like this, feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can find out exactly when more videos like this go live. Once again, you guys, as always, thank you so much for watching the video. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. It inspires me to keep creating. And again, I hope you're all healthy, safe, quarantined, and comfortable in whatever living conditions you are currently spending this pandemic in. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully we'll catch you in the next video. And as always, stay safe and stay happy. Adios.
Papa, what you done to my bed? What you done to my bed?